That's 10. We have 10. Welcome to Afifthofjack Gaming. We're going to have a top 10 list of books you should pick up over on the OPB sale. What's OPB? Well, that's Organic Price Books, where you can use the discount code of Afifthofjack to save $2 off. If you have 4 or more books, rock the code of Jack It Together. All spelled out together. Wow. And you'll be able to save 5% off that. I would repeat, use the discount code Jack It Together to save 5% off your entire order instead. Orders of $30 or more gets free shipping. That's right, free shipping with orders that are $30 or more. So, without further ado, let's go over to Organic Price Books and show you what books we suggest you to pick up. This is going to be our top. Alright, coming at number 10 is going to be Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is going to be where you can end up picking up Volume 1 and Volume 2. These are going to be solid pickups that keeps on going down with the Spider-Man line, especially if you have all the Ultimate Spider-Man. Yes, it's missing the third volume that he has off the options, but I think this is going to be a good stellar way to be able to get into that Spider-Man line. Or get more familiar with Miles. Also, it's important to say with this list, if there's not a first volume that you can end up getting on there, I don't have it on this list. So there's going to be a few books that's going to end up being like, well, why isn't that on there? That's the main reason why. I have a hard time going over with books that have multiple different volumes and doesn't have the first volume to start off with. So that's why we ended up going the route that we have. Again, number 10 is going to be Miles Morales Spider-Man, Volume 1 and Volume 2. We're going to put them both together since they're going to be a nice little set. Coming in at number 9 is going to end up being Batman by Scott Snyder. This is a nice solid run, and this is the first volume, so you can end up getting a good start with it. And the big thing is that this has the Court of Owls, which I love that story. I love it when the story ends up flipping the coin on that person. Batman thinks that he knows Gotham, but then the Court of Owls shows, oh, not so much. Plus, it has Capullo on art, so you know it's going to be good, solid art. And it is also Scott Snyder. Coming at number 8 will be The Green Lantern by Jeff Johns. Yes, this is very iconic, and yes, there is 3 volumes that's included with this. That's right, there's 3 different volumes, and all 3 different volumes is included on this sale. As you can see, that's half price. Volume 2, half price, and Volume 3 is half price. So really, you can get 3 books for a price of 1.5 of the books. That's a win in my book. If you're not worried about space, this is going to be perfect. It goes over with it. Also includes Blackest Night, the main story that goes along with that, and arguably the most or the best Green Lantern story that's out there. And not coming too far away from that, we also have Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters. This is another solid story. I've been told. I haven't read it, but I know this was also what inspired the Arrow series, and that wasn't enough for me to go over and pick it up. It's by Mike Gurnell. Coming in at number 6, we could just keep on staying on the same page. Scroll, find the right spot. Is Criminal. It's a criminal if you don't even look at this, because Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips is a notorious 1-2 combo that comes along with it. And you also have the deluxe versions, which is going to be the bigger sizes, so you're going to be able to have them being about the omnibus size. And at $25 for each volume, that's also a screaming steal for it. I've heard nothing but good things about this storyline. I haven't read it. We did pick it up with one of their other sales, but it just hasn't got in there yet. But strictly off of what people suggest, this is an awesome pickup to be able to pick it up, especially with a hardcover deluxe version. Number 5 is going to be Infinite Crisis. This is also one of those that we got from JP for Christmas. This is an awesome little book that you can, or well, not little book, because this is a pretty big book itself. But this is a good, solid pickup, and I've heard but nothing but good things about the mapping of this book. I was going to say, my friends ended up getting me right onto this, and this is something that I'm stellar to be excited to be able to end up reading, and it's definitely something that's high on our list to be able to read. It ends up having a bunch of fallouts that comes over with this, and if you're curious what comes after Infinite Crisis, it's going to end up being the New 52 Omnibus, where we end up having a fallout where you don't have the Trinity. And if you don't know what the Trinity is, that's Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. You don't have them, that's going to be over with it, and it's going to be a different cast. A little bit of homework that you can end up doing in advance of this would be like Identity Crisis, and I think there's a little bit more that you can end up doing to be able to prep for this. But again, this is going to be a solid pickup, and at number 5, that means we're halfway there. Coming in at number 4 is going to be the Phoenix Omnibus. This notoriously ended up getting on the Evergreen stream with near mint condition, as to be always ended up being printed, because this has the Phoenix story that's inside it. That's why I was saying, if you don't have it or you don't have access to be able to pick up the omnibuses that this is included for the Uncanny X-Men, this would be a way to be able to grab it and be able to see it over. It also has a stellar art with it. Yes, it's on back order, but that means that it might take a little bit longer time to be able to snag a copy of that. But that doesn't mean that it won't be sold out and you can't end up ordering it. It'll just end up taking a little bit extra time for that to come out. So, number 3 is going to be Injustice. I love the story that came over with it. I've only read half of it, though. The first half is a banger. And they also, I believe, have the second volume somewhere in this sale as well. So you could be able to snag that up, so you'll be able to have both volumes. They do look amazing next to one another with the spines that you end up having. And it's also another Tom Taylor. And yes, it did end up having a couple games that came out of this entire universe. And this, honestly, is an awesome little start-off story that you can end up going with. And that was number 3. And number 2... that's right, number 2 is going to be Invincible. Now, this sale has a whole bunch of different ways that you can end up collecting it. As you can see right down here, these are going to be the soft compendiums that you can end up going with. But you also have a hard compendium, which has a hardcover instead of the soft cover. Then you also have the Ultimate Editions. They're going to be about the same size as a omnibus. And then you also have the Library Editions. Both are being the biggest sizes that you can end up picking up. But the Library Editions includes normally 2 of the Ultimate Editions that's inside there. If you do go Library Editions, Volume 3 is going to be a little bit more pain in the butt to pick up, just to give you a heads up. But that's also the way that we ended up going. We started off with the soft compendiums, and then we upgraded to the Library Editions. And I do think this is something that any reader will end up loving. It's a more of a modern run that you can end up having. Plus, it also has that show that's over on Amazon right now that's working on its 3rd season. And I think it's a nice little feedback that you can end up having. All right. So I know before we end up getting to number 1, we're gonna go with the honorable mentions. And I would be saying the first honorable mention would be JSA by Jeff Johns. I've heard decent things about that. There's 3 different volumes that you can end up picking up. But I featured the first volume. That way you can end up getting a good start with it. All 3 volumes is also on this show. It's also on this sale that you can end up picking it up. And the final honorable mention is going to be Young Avengers. I've just recently ended up reading it. And to give you a heads up, we're going to end up having a review over this story. But oh my goodness, it was so amazing. There's so much action that has it throughout the entire book. The art's amazing. And then you also get to see what happens throughout Civil War, which if you don't know what that is, they end up having it where they had the superheroes end up dividing between 2 different ways. There was Civil War 1 and Civil War 2. We're talking about Civil War 1. Civil War 2 we won't even touch. We'll put that in the box that we don't want to be talking about. But this is going to be another way that you can end up getting with it. And it also gives you a younger cast of Avengers. Hence, the Young Avengers. So coming at number 1 is not going to be a shock to anyone. but I think is my favorite DC omnibus, and honestly, it is in my top 3 books so far that I ended up reading so far, and that's Gotham Central. This is an amazing story where you can end up having Greg Rucka and Ed Brubaker writing the main story that comes along with it. One's on the day shift, one's on the night shift. And you get very little of Batman that's inside there. You end up seeing what Gotham's police end up going through, and through their different eyes of that. I have to say, Montoya is going to end up having some great character development, and something that's going to be amazing. And honestly, this should be in anyone's collection. And definitely a top read that I would be suggesting with this. If there's any book that you're going to be able to pick up from this sale, I strongly suggest picking up Gotham Central. And that's the top 10 list with a little bit of honorable mention actions to be able to go along with these books. Like I said, these is a solid sale that you got going on. And these are books that you should be able to be thinking about picking up. And I cannot suggest Gotham Central enough, where I strongly believe that's one of the strong stories that you can end up picking up. And at $50, it's a steal. But if you're going to end up ordering these books, you can go you can follow the link down in the description, and you'll be able to end up going to Distribution 2.0 and be able to see these sales. And if there's something else you want to be adding, just add it to your cart. You can use the discount code Afifthofjack to save $2 off. Or if you use the code Jacket Together to save 5% off your entire order instead. Like I said before, orders up $30, it'll end up getting free shipping. And that's going to be a stellar way to be able to start your collection or keep your collection growing. And if you're liking the content that we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever we come out with new content. And down in the comments, let us know if you're planning on picking up any of this, or what would be your suggestion for someone to be picking up. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.